this thing going. My name's Otene Rewati and I work for Auckland Council, and so it's my privilege. I work for the Governance and Iwi Relationship team at Auckland Council, so been called upon to open our time here today with a short karakia and a brief mihi to us all today, especially to our visitors who are here and our minister who's arrived. So I'll begin with the karakia today. And the karakia that I use this morning, this afternoon, is one that calls to the birds of the sea and the birds of the forest to come, because something's happening today in the forest. I'm using that analogy as we gather here in this forest of Auckland City. And so it's calling us all together to come, hear, learn, and go back to our nests where we need to go. So it goes something like this: Kei inui tātou, let us give thanks. Werohia ki papatūnuku, werohia ki tai. He tuhi mārei kura ki te ao tūrua, turuturu a tai, turuturu a uta, turuturu a tai, e rua o nā tohu. He toroa, he amakura, turuturu a uta, he huia tana tohu. Whakarongo ki te huia e tangi mai nā hui, huia. Huia ki runga, huia ki raro, huia ki roto, huia ki waho. Huia te here tangata e tākia mai Hawaii ki nui, Hawaii ki roa, Hawaii ki pāmamau. Ka rongo te pō, ka rongo te ao, ka ao, tihei wa maurura. Tihei wa maurura ki te whai ao, ki te ao marama. Tuturu whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e hui e, tai ki e. Te mea tuatahi māku kia mihi tonu, kia tātou e huitahi nei i raro te tūnui o tēnei whare. I ngā mana, i ngā reo, raurangatira mā, o te ahu mahu, ngā pau ahu mahu, kua tai mai nei, tēnei te mihi kia koutou. E te tuakana, e te minita a Kelvin, tēnei te mihi kia koe, hara mai, nau mai, ki tēnei wāhi o tāmaki makaurau, tāmaki here ngā waka, tāmaki here ngā tangata. Ko here anō nā tangata mahu i roto tēnei kaupapa. Nau mā hara mai, mauria mai ngā kōrero o te whare miere kia mātou nei mai a pōneke kia mātou. Nā reira, hara mai ki tēnei waka nā ka kitea koe te pai me te whai rawa o tāmaki makaurau. Nā reira, e kara i ngā wiki pahure nei, nā ka hui mātau i te taha o te au pauri. Me ki ana rātau, nā kai a koutou te kuaha ki ngā puhi. Engari, ka mea au ki roto tēnei wā, ka mea au ki tēnei wā, nā kai a mātau te kuaha ki te ao. Nō reira, hara mai ki tēnei huihuinga o mātau, o tāmaki makaure, e whakarongo ki tō pānui, ki tō kauwhau, e kauwhau tia koe kei wainga nui a mātau. Nō reira, kāre e whakaroro i tēnei wā, nō reira, ka mihi ki a tātou, i ngā mana, i ngā reo, raurangatira mā. Mihi tonu ki tō tātou nei koromatua, Fulgolf, nō reira, ka mihi tonu ki a koe, me ngā kai kaunihira, koe tai mai nei. Nō reira, i roto tērā, ka mihi tonu ki a tātou ka huri takureo. Greetings to us all. And as I open today, I greet you and welcome you back to this hui today. Especially to our minister who's arrived here. Come to Tāmaki, the place where the wakas gathered, the place where people gather. And today we have people gathering again here, i te minita. So welcome once, welcome twice, welcome 3 times. I met with people from Te Aupori, the top of the North Island, and they were saying to me, Otene, kei a mātou te kuaha ki Ngāpuhi. We are the doorway to Ngāpuhi. I said, okay, yep, that makes sense to me. You are the doorway, and you guys are the back door. But today I say to the Minister, Te Aupori may be the front door, but we are the doorway to the rest of the world. Nō reira, i ngā mana, i ngā reo, reo rangatira mā huri no tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tūtera mai ngā iwi, tātou katoa.
Auwe, tātou e, tūtera mai ngā iwi, tātou e, whai a te maramatanga, me te aroha i ngā iwi, kia ko tapatahi, kia ko tahira, tātou e, tātou e. Nō reira, ka huri anō ki a rātou mākua wehe ki te pō uriuri, ki te pō nakonako, ki te pō e kore o kia mai. Rātou ngā mate o ngā itua, haere koutou, haere koutou. Rātou ki a rātou, te hungomate ki te hungomate. Tātou ngā waihotanga o rātou mā, ka mihi tonu ki a tātou e huitahi nei. Huri no tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ka huri.
Kia ora, Otene. Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to what is a truly exciting occasion for ATEED, but also for the city. My name is Steve Armitage, and I have the privilege of being the General Manager Destination at Auckland Tourism Events and Economic Development. Today, we're going to outline a new direction for Auckland and its visitor economy. We will hear from the Minister of Tourism, we will hear from the Mayor of Auckland, and a lot of industry leaders who have helped to shape this new shared strategy for a sustainable Auckland. First, some housekeeping. In the event of an emergency, please follow the instruction of theatre ushers, who will be in yellow high-vis vests. If you require mobility assistance, please remain where you are and a warden will be there to provide support. ASB Waterfront Theatre is a non-smoking venue. Thank you. After this presentation, we will share in some light refreshments, and there will be an opportunity for us to network and to respond to any questions that you might have as we work our way through the next hour. But now it is my great pleasure to invite Mayor Phil Goff to speak about Destination Auckland 2025 and the contribution that he feels it can make to Auckland's future.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e rā rangatira mā tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. No mai, haere mai, whakatau mai. And welcome to the launch of Destination Auckland 2025. Can I begin with some acknowledgements? My old friend Kelvin Davis, not so old actually, but already Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism. Welcome, Kelvin. You know, I know that most of the funds have to go to the regional areas, but don't forget Auckland. It's a critical area, and we're not just a gateway, we're a destination. I know you know that as Minister of Tourism. Can I acknowledge members of Parliament who may be here? I haven't checked out who's here, but greetings to members of Parliament and to councillors. I can acknowledge Ross Clow, Chair of our Finance Committee here, and to local board members. To Nick Hill, Chief Executive of ATEED. Welcome, Nick. Martin Snedden, just in front of me. Not only a welcome, Martin, but thank you very much for the work that you did in chairing the Industry Leaders Group. And to Steve Armitage, who's been on the stage, who puts body and soul into the work that he does on behalf of ATEED and promoting Auckland as a destination. To all of you here, members of the Industry Leaders Group, and those of you that are here to welcome and support this occasion, a very warm welcome. If you've come from out of town, it doesn't usually rain like that. Auckland's usually a very mild climate, but we'll take it as it comes. We welcome each year around 2.6 million international visitors and roughly the same number of people who are visiting Auckland from around the country. And collectively, those tourists spend about $8 billion a year into the Auckland economy. That makes tourism a very significant part of what we do in our city. But the estimates in this report that you will get the chance to see are quite stunning in their magnitude. By 2025, it's estimated that visitor numbers will rise by 58% to over 4 million people a year, and spending by a massive 85% to just under $14 billion a year. The contribution, very clearly, that tourism makes to Auckland is significant, is a critical part of our local economy. Now, of course, that number of visitors also puts some pressure on an infrastructure in Auckland that is struggling to match the growth in our size as a city. And we do need to factor that into our planning for future infrastructure build, because we don't want either those of us who live in Auckland nor our visitors to be stuck in congestion. But I would say to those who complain, hell, we're already chock-a-block, it's hard to get accommodation, it's hard to get around the city, that tourism should be seen not as a contributor to the problem, but a contributor to the solution to the challenges that Auckland has. Because I believe that tourism complements and does not contradict our goals and our vision for our city. I see tourism as a way of helping contribute to the building of our infrastructure, helping to enhance our environment. I know Tourism New Zealand has just given up the slogan of 100% pure, but we want to aspire to that goal in cleaning up our waterways, cleaning up our beaches, and improving our environment. Tourism helps contribute to the cultural heritage that we have and helps us build the basis to strengthen that. It helps with the institutions and the activities that make this a truly interesting and vibrant city, not only to live in, but also to visit. Can I acknowledge all of those who contributed towards Destination Auckland 2025? It is a major piece of work. It reflects input from more than 1,000 people involved in the city and the industry, and it involves countless hours of work. And I think it's a very special report, as Steve suggested. It's about destination management and not just destination marketing. It's about our industry and our city being proactive, not just reactive. It's about sustainability, because that's at the core of our future. It's about building on the alignment between making this a great place to live, vibrant, attractive, and interesting, with also being a great place to visit. It's the work of a collective. It reflects the views of Council, of ATEED, and the industry leadership group. In fact, it offers a united vision about Auckland's visitor economy. It promotes Auckland, as I said before, not just as a gateway to the rest of New Zealand, we're certainly that, but it promotes it as a destination in its own right. What I like most about this report is that it aligns in its future vision with the Auckland plan that Auckland Council has just completed. That is a plan that looks at Auckland out to 2050, and it identifies the major challenges that our city faces: population growth, ensuring prosperity for all, ensuring that we can have a clean and sustainable environment. Destination Auckland 2025 acknowledges those challenges, and It acknowledges our shared responsibility, those who live here and those who visit here, for addressing those challenges. It represents collaboration between the industry and central government and local government and the mana whenua. It's important that it is a united approach, and it represents a joint commitment to work together to enhance this city and the world-class experience and the service and the friendly welcome that we give to our visitors. It also acknowledges the need to grow the industry's capability and capacity, the physical infrastructure that we need, and it's great to see the Park Hyatt rising out of the ground just opposite this theatre. It acknowledges the need for a very highly skilled workforce. It notes that we have to make sure that our public remains supportive of tourism by being informed about the value that tourism adds to the city. It recognises Auckland as New Zealand's international city, and that through our scale we can provide choices and opportunities that make this a great place to visit and to live. Destination Auckland 2025 helps deliver the collaboration we need to grow our visitor economy sustainably. I welcome this report as an appropriate and sound strategy for the development of tourism, of international education and major events in our city. And I thank and I congratulate all of those who were involved in its productions. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Really appreciate your strong endorsement of the strategy and the recognition of those who've contributed to its development. It's now my pleasure to invite the Minister of Tourism, the Honourable Kelvin Davis, to come up and give us a national perspective on Destination AKL 2025.
Hei timatanga kōrero māku e o tene e mihi kauna ki a koe nau nei mātou katoa I whakatau mai ki roto te whare nei. Nā reira, tēnā rā koe. Kia ora all, and thank you, Steve. I'd also like to thank Mayor Phil Goff. I'd also like to correct him, though he did introduce me as the Deputy Prime Minister. There's a relative political newcomer who already has that position. I believe he's about to enter the second half of his political career. Just like to acknowledge Martin and Stefan. It's a pleasure to be here as the Minister of Tourism. So thank you, Phil, ATED and representatives from the Leaders Industry Group for giving me this opportunity to be here today. Tourism is an exciting portfolio for me. It's a $36 billion industry. I think my stats and Phil's stats might clash a little bit here because we've had the latest tourism forecast. Last year we had more than 3.7 million visitors to New Zealand, with many starting their journey here in Auckland. But we're predicting the number of visitors to grow 37% to over 5 million by 2024. So there is a fantastic opportunity to be grabbed here. And as I've heard, let's not see tourism as a problem. Let's see it as a massive opportunity for the whole country. So this growth brings benefits to communities across the country in the form of new jobs, better transport, transport links and more services, more amenities and attractions that our visitors and Kiwis can enjoy. And I've just had a conversation with Martin. The infrastructure that we need here in Auckland to benefit tourism is actually going to benefit all Aucklanders and make Auckland an even greater city to live in. It also means we need to take a more holistic approach to further growth as well as looking at economic benefits. We need to make sure that The environmental and cultural benefits of tourism are experienced by as many New Zealanders as possible, which is why I'd like to commend the strategy group for their collaboration on Destination AKL 25. I asked, is it Destination AKL or is it Destination Auckland? And Steve and Martin both at the same time gave different answers. So it's encouraging to see government, both local and central, and the tourism sector working together towards a common goal. Yesterday down in Dunedin at the Trends Conference, that was the theme that occurred throughout all the presentations. Local, central government and the industry working together. I'm encouraged by the principles that guide your strategy, from kaitiakitanga to manage the impact of visitors and preserve our natural environment for future generations, manaakitanga to show others respect, hospitality, generosity and care, and finally kotahitanga to work together. Beyond industry and government, you've made sure to listen to your communities. The voices of everyday Aucklanders were included in the Development Destination Auckland 2025. So tourism doesn't just benefit business owners, but the lives of everyday New Zealanders. The collaborative work reflected in Destination Auckland 2025 also aligns with the government's broader goals for tourism. I'm pleased to see the government's aims to reduce seasonality and attract high-value tourism are reflected in what you want Auckland to achieve. Together, we can make New Zealand a high-value, year-round attraction and with sustainability at its core. You're taking a leadership role and looking beyond the immediate benefits to the medium term and into the long term into the future. The role of ATEED as guardian and driver of Destination Auckland 2025 is an innovative part of this leadership. The guardian role will be a champion of sustainability, and I'm excited to see what you have learned. To see what you have learned can help other parts of New Zealand meet their own goals. This government is also focused on regional development, and we know there's real potential for tourism to help uplift our regions and benefit our smaller communities. Being a person from the north, it's great to listen to Stefan and Steve talking about how they're linking with Northland Inc. up there. One of the things I've learnt in my time in tourism is that competition actually doesn't work. When someone's doing well or a business is doing well, there's a whole group of other people and businesses in the vicinity that also benefit. So if Auckland's doing well, the rest of the country will do well. If Northland's doing well, there'll be a flow-on effect also to Auckland. So we know that there's real potential for tourism to help uplift our regions and benefit our smaller communities. With your work on Destination Auckland 2025, Auckland demonstrating how effective destination management can be and has a special position in helping achieve the goal of regional dispersal. As one of the first stopping points for our visitors, you're also the gateway to surrounding regions, to Northland and to Waikato and beyond. Auckland needs to work together with the other regions and make tourism benefit all New Zealanders. I encourage AT to share your learnings from the process of developing Destination Auckland 2025. Your work on the strategy shows the importance of moving beyond marketing and attractions to real destination management and planning for the needs of your visitors after they arrive in New Zealand. Developing the Māori economy is a priority also for this government, and I'm glad to see this featured in your strategy. The tourism industry can and does leverage off our Māori culture, and I think there is immense opportunity for Māori to continue to develop businesses around their culture, history and stories. I'm glad the strategy helps enable this development with a strong support for culture and the arts. My ambition is to work collaboratively with local government and industry to ensure tourism is sustainable and enriches the lives of New Zealanders. A similar example of collaborative work is the Freedom Camping Working Group, which I have set up with representatives from central and local government and the tourism industry. I think Destination Auckland 2025 will be an integral part of achieving my ambition as Minister. whether through creating quality jobs, helping protect our natural environment, or promoting a deeper understanding of Māori culture. I know Steve and Martin are going to take you through more of the detail for the direction ahead, but I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Auckland tourism sector on Destination Auckland 2025. I'm excited by what lies ahead in delivering your vision for Auckland and for New Zealand. Kia ora.
Just to clarify, when the Minister asked Martin and I what it was called, Martin went for Destination Auckland, I went for Destination AKL. I think that's a generational thing. I think that's text, my appreciation of text language, clearly to the fore there. Not many of you know me, and not many of you know me particularly well. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight. I consider myself to be a true Aucklander. I was born in the West, raised in the South, educated in the East, and have lived in the North. Like other Aucklanders, I support the Warriors and the Blues when they're winning. And I can talk about house prices and congestion with the best of them. Like many of you, I dabbled with other cities. When I completed my studies, I left New Zealand to live in London before the pull of family and a way of life that I felt more comfortable pulled me back to New Zealand. I was obviously a slow learner though, as I followed my great Kiwi OE with a stint in Wellington. In fact, the mayor was my landlord. But the call of Auckland always proved too hard to resist. I feel bound to this city, and I am extremely privileged to call Tamaki Makaurau home. This city has been a backdrop to many key moments in my life. Moments that we've shared as a community, like the incredible America's Cup homecoming parade in the mid-1990s. But also moments of personal joy, like the birth of my daughter, and times of despair, like when I lost my father. These experiences and this city have shaped who I am, and the same applies to many of you. As Aucklanders, our lives have been and continue to be enriched by the experience and opportunities that this region provides. It's easy to take that for granted. Our landscapes, our diversity, our culture, our people. It's only recently that I've come to understand the great debt that I owe Tamaki Makaurau. In doing so, it's made me ask myself, what can I do to repay the city that has given me so much? More to the point, what can I do now to ensure that those who are yet to experience this city are afforded the same opportunities to create their own memories and to be shaped by a place that is cared for and is nurtured by those who truly value it? This is a responsibility that we all share and we need to take better ownership of. And that is what brings us here today, the future of our city.
My name's Adi and I live in Auckland.
My name is Riley and I'm 6 years old and I live in Auckland.
My name is Patrick. I'm 6 years old. I come from Auckland City. Auckland.
I'm making the river.
I say, I'm being my friend.
The genesis of Destination Auckland 2025 was the realisation that Auckland really needs a story that people can relate to. This is not just about the visitor economy, not just about tourism. It's about the people who live in Auckland, who work in Auckland.
It's really important that we take the first step. We can't expect this change to happen through other people. We've got to do what's right and lead that ourselves.
This is a moment in time for us to take a stand for something that's really important. All of those involved in the visitor economy can take a lead on ensuring that we future-proof Auckland for the next generation of visitors, but also for tomorrow's Aucklanders.
Auckland is unique and interesting. It's secure and safe, and I also like the buildings.
It makes me feel excited.
I like to go to the beach. I like seeing the Sky Tower. The best swimming pools. Interesting.
Within 30 minutes of the CBD, I can be climbing a volcano or walking in the forest or trolling along the beach with my children. It's an incredible place to call home, and it's a great place to visit.
Auckland's unique by the fact that it's one of the most diverse cities in the world. We've got a strong relationship with tangata whenua and tamaki makaurau. It's important that we value that relationship with Māori, and we steward our environment in a way that accords respect to Māori tradition and expectations.
Tamaki makaurau, or Tamaki Herenga Waka, is a meeting place for people. Our ancestors did it, and now we can showcase a city full of coastlines, countryside, culture, cafes, and something that's quite unique is the fact that you can get close to locals very quickly. They're enjoying the environments that we get to show to our manuhiri or our visitors.
Auckland is environmentally sustainable.
Auckland is unsustainable.
Environmentally. Sustainability. Sustainability.
This represents quite a groundbreaking change from previous visitor economy plans which tend to focus more on marketing. This is about the destination. This is about sustainability, about making sure that Auckland in the long haul is a great place.
We've had massive growth in our resident population as well as our visitor population. So we need to keep an eye on those things, and we need to invest in the right place in the right way to make sure that we don't put our residents off and our visitors off coming here because we make it a bit unpleasant and a bit hard because we're not taking the care that we need to.
A stronger focus on how we manage this destination is critical to the success of the strategy. It's not at the complete expense of destination marketing. We need to continue to promote Auckland and make sure that we are looking at the right sort of target audiences, that we're going for high value visitors. But we have to look after the product in a better way than we have to this point.
I've been on a bus and it has been fun.
I ride on my bike and sometimes we go in my car.
I've been on the train and it has been fun.
Better connected city for visitors means that when visitors come to our city, they'll be able to travel seamlessly and conveniently across the Auckland region.
And part of that is having a fantastic transport system and, very importantly, a really, really strong public transport offering within that system.
The city is more livable, the region's more livable. People enjoy the time they have with their families and friends rather than stuck in their cars.
When we grow up, we want to be a police officer.
An artist.
Professional soccer player.
I might do comedy.
Tourism is New Zealand's fastest growing sector. It's fast-paced, it's challenging, and that makes it a sustainable sector to work in. As so many more jobs coming on board, we're going to need lots of people to fill the roles.
Auckland's a place where everybody feels included and has opportunities for great jobs, to interact with our environment and to be part of a city that actually cares enough to ensure that people have the future that they deserve.
Auckland achieving its vision of being an incredibly enriching and inviting place to be for its visitor is key to unlocking future value for international visitors and the international visitor economy in New Zealand. I think Auckland as a city could continue to look towards data for insight into who its visitors are, what they find attractive about this place and what they might like to do in the future. Tapping into that data set will enable Auckland to make choices around how to improve not just the visitor experience of the city but also the experience of the people who live in it.
If we know what they like to do while they're here, how they like to spend their time, then we can be far more targeted about the visitors that we're looking to bring here. ATEED has a vital role to play, and we'll be working with those involved in the visitor economy to hold each other to account and ensure that we deliver on what we know will ultimately be a long-term benefit to Auckland.
If we achieve what we set out to achieve with this plan, Auckland will shine, and it won't just be the waterfront and the CBD that shines. It'll be those various regions around Auckland that in some ways are hidden jewels, which will be brought to the surface, and visitors and residents alike will be able to recognise them and really celebrate them.
It's a place where when you come and visit us, you find us exciting and you find us challenging, and you get around our beautiful city easily. You enjoy our wild places and you enjoy our thriving city centre, and that's the kind of Auckland that we hope for.
Today marks the culmination of some 9 months of research, consultation and engagement, testing and refinement to arrive at an end product that we are immensely proud of. When we set out to revisit the Auckland Visitor Plan, we hope to advance the agenda and to deliver a revised strategy to take Auckland's visitor economy forward, informed by the sector. But it quickly became apparent that this strategy had the potential to be so much more, that its value and impact could be extended beyond simply thinking about how we generate visitors, whether they are coming to study, visit friends and family, attend an event, or simply for leisure. Thanks to the vision and courage of those who took part, and particularly the industry leaders group chaired by Martin Snedden, Destination AKL 2025 is not a plan for ATEED, nor is it a plan for Council. It is a plan for Auckland and the future we can have if we work together towards the shared vision. Please take the time to read it and engage with it, and come and talk to us about the role that you can play in helping to bring it to life. At its heart, the strategy envisages a more sustainable future for Auckland and the visitor economy, as you've heard. This will be achieved by striking out in a new direction with a stronger focus and emphasis on destination management. All of this is underpinned by 3 key principles: kotahitanga, kaitiakitanga, and manakitanga. Principles to guide and ground the actions that we consider essential to the strategy's long-term success. Implicit in this and detailed in the strategy is the expectation of a much stronger and more visible Māori influence on the region's visitor economy. As I mentioned, Destination AKL 2025 signals a fundamental shift towards destination management over what has traditionally been a primary focus on destination marketing. This effectively means that our efforts in promoting Auckland to visitors have tended to be founded on the premise of more visitors from more places. And there's no doubt we've been successful. Thanks to our collective efforts, Auckland has enjoyed a period of unprecedented and sustained growth in the number of visitors travelling to this region. The visitor sector now delivers more than $8 billion into the regional economy and employs around 60,000 Aucklanders. And this growth is forecast to continue, as the Mayor and Minister have touched on. Growth of the magnitude that is forecast cannot go unchecked. We need to recognise the onset of growing pains and get ahead of the issues before they arise. This requires us to be focused on that destination management theme and work together to manage the impact of the visitor economy to ensure that Auckland is better off not just economically, but also socially, culturally and environmentally. That we understand and build awareness of the fact that being a great place to visit also has a direct relationship to being a great place to live. We need to commit to a stronger and more collaborative relationship between the public and private sectors, particularly with those agencies or organisations who have not previously recognised or considered themselves to be a part of the visitor landscape. It's a lesson that we are heeding within Council, where already we are seeing a deeper appreciation and acceptance of the need to consider visitors in the planning of organisations like Auckland Transport. They get it, and they have signed the strategy to reflect that understanding and their commitment to do more. Consensus requires direction. For Auckland to reach its potential, both as a destination but also as a place to live and work, the collaborative efforts of the sector must be channelled in the right way. Destination AKL 2025 provides this direction through the 6 strategic imperatives that were highlighted in the video and that are displayed here. They reflect our desire to have a clear identity for what Auckland is and what it aspires to be in the future. This will be a key area of focus for us as we build towards the unique opportunity that 2021 provides. It also reflects a desire to focus more on value whilst maintaining sustainable volume growth, the desire of industry and the community to protect the environment, to support cultural development and to improve profitability, the desire for improved physical and digital connectivity, regional dispersal within Auckland and beyond, better wayfinding and collaborative decision making. There's also a recognition that the visitor economy requires more human capacity and capability, that tourism provides global career pathways. And we need to acknowledge that ATEED and the industry need to be more data-led, content-rich and digitally enabled. These 6 strategic imperatives have been distilled down into 12 key focus areas, which highlight the areas where aligned activity across the relevant parts of the sector can deliver positive outcomes. Those key focus areas are further broken down into some 50 recommended actions that we believe are pivotal to success. There's a lot of detail in the strategy around the key focus areas and the recommended actions, which I don't have the time to go into today. But I wanted to give you a quick flavour of what the strategy entails by focusing on just one of the imperatives. Others will be touched on during the panel discussion to follow. A unique place. This imperative sits across 5 key focus areas and has a relationship, as the graphic demonstrates, across both destination marketing and destination management. We all know that we live in a unique part of the world. But if I asked each of you to describe what it is that makes Auckland unique, you would all have a slightly different take on what that is. 2021 and the hosting of the America's Cup, Te Matatini and APEC Leaders Week in Auckland present as a golden opportunity for us to showcase who we are to a global audience. The strategy recognised the importance of a unifying destination marketing narrative that represents who we are. But this needs to be supported by new product and experiences, particularly in the cultural space, that helps to reinforce that identity. To do this properly, we must better engage with and listen to our host community, the people of Tamaki Makaurau. Listening will help us to better understand how we could and should position Auckland, but also help to inform what we need to do to protect the environment, our communities, and preserve our way of life. The research we undertook to develop the strategy showed emerging concerns over the potential for increased visitor numbers to negatively impact Auckland's livability. The strategy acknowledges that Aucklanders must be comfortable with the levels of visitation that we get, and that the growth is sustainable, but also that we must do a better job of communicating the full benefits the visitor economy delivers across the region. In terms of actions, the strategy outlines, and this is not exhaustive, that by 2025, Auckland's unique identity will resonate with residents and visitors alike by delivering new cultural and arts product opportunities, supporting mana whenua to introduce new Māori tourism product, developing an enduring destination narrative well in advance of 2021 and supported by Aucklanders, better informing and educating Aucklanders about the value of the visitor economy, putting more effort into how we welcome our visitors with improved digital content and a dedicated greeters program, and focusing on how we can improve the student experience for the many international students that we enjoy and welcome into the city. Overall, if we have a better defined identity and develop product that is reflective of who we are, if Aucklanders are engaged, and if we are making better informed decisions, the visitor experience will be enhanced and Aucklanders will better appreciate their region. So where does ATEED fit into this? As has been mentioned, we are the guardian of the strategy and we take that role very seriously. Through our 4 business units, we believe we can support and realise the vision that's outlined in the strategy. The teams, led by the incredible Stefan Panaho, Henry Matthews, Stuart Turner and Anna Haywood, are in the process of developing 5-year action plans that detail year by year what ATEED will be doing to support the strategy. The Mayor and Council will be happy to know that they'll be able to look and understand very clearly how our activity and the investment that the city makes into ATEED is being channelled. We will be reprioritising and particularly ramping up our capability in areas like sustainability and putting more investment into business events. We look forward to sharing these plans with you in the coming weeks before they come into effect on 1st of July. There's no doubt that Destination Auckland 2025 requires ATEED to step up and to extend our previous responsibilities to really drive this groundbreaking collaboration. This responsibility sits at the heart of the strategy, not as a burden, but as an opportunity. The strategy recognises that the more desirable Auckland becomes as a place to visit, the better it is as a place to live and work. But as I've said, the strategy also emphasises the importance of us all working together. The good news is that we're already underway. This is clearly illustrated in the slide and in the strategy. Representatives of the Industry Leaders Group have pledged their support by signing the document as a sign of collective commitment. ATEED is tremendously excited and invigorated by the level of support and engagement we've had in developing the strategy. Now we need to make it happen. To talk about how we will do that, it is my great pleasure to invite Martin Snedden, Adrian Littlewood, Kerry Hannaford, Stephen England Hall, Graham Stevens and Nick Hill up to the stage. Yeah. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Steve. Congratulations to you for the leadership you've shown in this project right from the start, and also the courage to open it up to a group of people who in the end influence this quite significantly. As Steve said, the end result of this is not an ATEED plan, it's a plan for Auckland, out of which ATEED will create their own plans, and we hope that it will influence a whole lot of the strategic work that's been done by key players right around the city, and also extending down into government, Minister, and the key agencies like Tourism New Zealand and MB that are so connected up with tourism. Just to introduce the people that are on the panel, Kerry Hannaford is the area manager for Accor Hotels for New Zealand. Accor, the major hotel player in terms of the grouping and the percentage of hotel territories around New Zealand. Adrian Littlewood, the CEO of Auckland Airport. Stephen England Hall, the CEO of Tourism New Zealand. Graham Stevens, the CEO of Sky City. And Nick, the CEO of ATEED. All of them, other than Adrian, committed members of the Industry Leaders Group. Adrian allowed Scott Tasker from his senior management team also to be a major part of this. There are other people in the room, there are others that can't be here that were committed to being a big part of this. There were people behind the scenes like Jason Hill right from the start, GM of Tourism at ATEED for a long period of time, who made this happen. Albert Stafford and his team that created the information and the insight that fed into the debates that we had. Chris Bray, who came into it later in the process. Chris is a professional storyteller. and he was able to pick our very clumsy words up and turn them into something readable and palatable that made sense. It's a whole collective effort that has gone into this, and it's been a great one to be involved in from the start through to what I'm telling people now. We're not at the finish line, we've just got to the start line. But today is just an opportunity to talk to these people and for them just to tell parts of the story in their own words. And Kerry, you and Graham, you know, you got an email from me in September and said, why don't you join us in a conversation? You didn't know me, you didn't know any of these people. When you went into this, what were your expectations? What have we lived up to those?
First of all, I have to say that it was actually a privilege because we don't quite often get to have a voice. So that was extraordinary in itself. So thank you to both Martin and Stephen for thinking of Accor Hotels. We do have a sizable investment in Auckland. We're about to open our 10th hotel on the 1st of October, so Auckland. So we welcome you at the major opening, of course. But it was, you know, not with trepidation, of course, but it was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of people here. So is this going to be a little bit of a talk fest and wondering, you know, how would we get our voice heard? But such an extraordinary effort and collaboration that one could not say no because the curiosity got the better of us to think, okay, right, let's go along and have a look.
Graham, you were in the same position as Kerry. What was your experience at the start?
Well, perhaps because I didn't know anyone, I thought I'd better come. And I'm new to New Zealand, and for me it was at least going to be a huge networking opportunity to get to meet people in the industry. But more importantly, I mean, I don't know if you know it, but it's about 70% of SkyCity's business, the entire group's business, comes out of Auckland. So making sure that we're aligned with Auckland is about the most important thing we need to do. So from that perspective, it was critical. And again, a big vote of thanks for including us. It's been a great journey.
Adrian, you and I hooked up when we were piecing together Tourism 2025 many years ago. Some people are cynical about the creation of these types of plans, which aren't strategic plans in the normal mode, in the sense that they can't absolutely bind people into specific actions. But do you see value in this sort of stuff?
Absolutely, and from experience of 2025 and working with you and then the team at TIA, I think there's an incredible power in leadership and setting out that mode of leadership, and then telling stories that others can hang their ideas upon, because I think tourism is distinctly fragmented as an industry. There are many small players, there are a few big ones, and that means as a system of interconnected parts, to achieve things you need a shared sense of aspiration and momentum, and so I think these kinds of bits of work are quite hard in their gestation and birth, as we know from experience, but play incredible value in terms of aligning the monster of a machine behind a common goal. And what we found with Tourism 2025, and I'm expecting we'll see the same here, is it will gather momentum like a rolling boulder down a hill, and we'll quickly find that others are telling their story in this context, and that's when you start to really see the power of these things.
It's that power of story, isn't it? It's actually giving people the opportunity in a really short space of time to quickly explain what direction an industry is going in, or in this case, what direction a city and region are going in. Nick, you've come into ATEED in the last few months. You have, I think, very courageously gone well outside your normal business as usual role with this. Steve's explained and shown briefly the fact that your own business's strategic planning will cascade down out of this. But you've accepted the role of guardian of the plan. Can you just articulate what that means and how you're going to go about that?
Thank you, Martin. First of all, I'd just like to say on behalf of ATEED, thank you very much for the role that you've played and the industry leaders have played in contributing and investing in the development of the strategy, and all the people that you talked about at the beginning who have invested in it. It's created an enormous kaupapa and wārua around what we're trying to achieve. And I think that the responsibility of having established that rests quite heavily now on ATEED in terms of not losing that momentum. And I think there's three ways we probably will need to undertake that role as guardian. First, I think championing the strategy, making it visible, and in particular, I think within the council family, and I think Steve mentioned Auckland Transport. You and I met with the board of Auckland Transport recently and talked to them about the strategy and received an incredibly warm and responsive welcome and a commitment to support what we're doing. I think part of being the guardian is championing the strategy and undertaking that. Secondly, ATEED itself and the actions that we take, the $27 million a year that we invest on behalf of Aucklanders in tourism, how we do that, and the four areas that Steve mentioned, that is really important in bringing the strategy to life. And I think thirdly, and possibly the hardest part of being the guardian, is actually some honesty around holding everybody to account. So it's easy to sit here today. We've got very excited about what the future holds and what we want to do, but delivering it and the real world challenges us, and we need to make sure we stay true to that. And I think our role is to help to keep those conversations honest.
And Stephen, you've been in it right from the start, and one of your senior managers, Lauren Vosper, as well. What's in it from your point of view, from Tourism New Zealand's point of view?
Kia ora, Martin, and everyone. First of all, I think, just before I answer your question specifically, I just want to add to Nick's comments. I think it's been to me, this is a perfect example of what we should be doing across the ecosystem of the visitor economy, which is bringing together the disparate parts of the system so they function together in unison and actually overcome challenges, but also, more importantly, enable everyone to benefit much more effectively from the growth that tourism can deliver, whether that's economically, socially, or environmentally. Second thing, although the mayor's left, I should add that 100% Pure New Zealand is not going anywhere. So, just for clarity, I can assure you, I'm expecting a text from the Minister in a few minutes. Anyway, I think from a Tourism New Zealand point of view, what becomes incredibly important is the brand of a place, whether it be the country or a city, is reflected in the conversations people have after they leave. And so having incredibly well thought through destination plans and a coordinated industry, both private and the public sector as well, enables those destinations to fulfill on the promise that the conversation's already set for you. Because I think a visitor arrives somewhere with a predetermined set of expectations, and I think it's becoming incredibly important that as marketing becomes more sophisticated, the conversations enabled by digital technologies such as social media become more pervasive, then the destinations that people visit need to deliver up to the things that we talk about. And so I think from a Tourism New Zealand point of view, we're starting to see the conversation around destination management become more prevalent across the whole country. And I think what Auckland has done is led that conversation, and it's started it in a way that is probably quite sophisticated and quite integrated, and will enable the city to really stand out from the crowd on the global stage.
When the extensive research was done for this, the number one issue that was highlighted by all of the groups consulted with was connectivity, the challenges we have with connectivity around the region. And when you get a chance to read in detail the plan, you'll see that that is a major focus and an aspiration to turn Auckland into a place that's really connected. Adrian, you've seen some of the announcements in recent times, and some of them are really relevant to you, given the city to airport rail link. What are you seeing?
Well, it wouldn't be a public event if I didn't get a rail to the airport question. Look, I'll take it right back. I think Auckland Transport Alignment Project version 2, which was announced a couple of weeks ago, which included a bunch of those elements, is absolutely fundamental to a well-functioning and proper operating city, and obviously airport connectivity is critical to that. And it's factually not just about the airport, it's about the entire region of South Auckland that we are part of, and in an odd way, and I've talked about this a lot before, we are oddly a high place of opportunities for employment directly adjacent to a high area of unemployment in Auckland. So that odd dichotomy needs to be resolved, and part of the reasons that needs to be solved, or part of the answer to solving that, is improved connectivity through transport. So we have been vocal advocates of improved public transport, so it's great to see certainly this government's really running at that with purpose. And it's not simply about tourism, it's about jobs, economic wealth, social and cultural well-being. And we're spending $2 billion in the next 5 years, which is something we've never done before, which will create tens of thousands of jobs. So these things are all, it's a great example maybe of where a tourism foundation can enable sort of economic and social outcomes for our city, and that we get better infrastructure as a consequence, not just because of.
And in our meetings, Graham, you and Kerry frequently pointed out the issues that you both have in running major hotel operations of getting staff, and staff that are having to try and get into your places of business from far away, and the difficulties of that, and the impact of not having good enough transport systems. Do you want to just talk a wee bit more about that?
Yeah, I think, and it's not just staff, just to echo Adrian's sentiments, we've had customers as well, where they quite often arrive at the airport, but from a staff perspective, we're a big employer and a 24/7 employer, so a lot of our staff trying to get home at night. So we have a shuttle service. We got a lot of trouble and cost to make sure that they can get home safely, get to work safely. A lot of them come with cars, and we all know that trying to become a greener environment, we're trying to use cars less. So the announcements that have been made recently are very, very well received. We can only echo what everyone else has said, and we've got to wait now, a couple of years to go with business as usual, but it can only improve the lives of our staff significantly.
Nick, this is also the area of skills and employment, particularly in some parts of Auckland, is a big focus for ATEED as well.
That's right. I think the board has recently affirmed that quality jobs in Auckland sits at the core of what economic development's here for. And I think Adrian's point about the potential that South Auckland offers in terms of workers and the demand that occurs at the airport is a good example of a mismatch. I guess the other piece of that is the training and the matching of training to the demands of this industry. And I guess an important part that we play in this is the use of data and information to really understand what the industry requires, and that the training providers are being nudged and pushed in the right direction in support of the industry.
Steve pointed out we've put a significant focus in this plan and in this vision on sustainability. There was a lot of nervousness about that, and for many it's a big jump because we don't quite know what we're jumping into. And so it's taken quite a bit of courage, I think, to say, yes, that's the direction we want to go in, but we just don't know everything about this. Kerry, you come from an organisation worldwide for which sustainability's been right at the front of your strategy for a while. Has that benefit Accor?
Very much so, but they're not motherhood statements. These are something that we take very real. We operate in 94 countries. We have over 280,000 employees worldwide. We have signed declarations with the United Nations. Our ethics charter is available online for everybody to see and how we operate. And even though we are a global company, we actually act local. So it's very important for us to have our sustainability charter very robust, which we all sign and agree to. And that runs all the way through to procurement, but it's education, it's training. We have a very robust training program, and particularly working with governments called Building Futures, where we literally will take people and educate them and take them right through so that they do have a very sustainable career. But it is also about the green environment as well. So when we looked at this, I think we couldn't help but say that this aligned beautifully with our strategy and the footprint that we live in every market that we enter into. And we have a lot more development, you know, for Auckland, of course, but also for New Zealand. So it's very, very important to us that we operate with the highest integrity in that segment.
What we set out to do here is create a story that Aucklanders could buy into, that would resonate with them, and that would add to the richness of the place we live in and we work in, and for those that visit here. A couple of days ago I was being interviewed in preparation for the launch today, and the guy interviewed me, looked at me and he'd read the plan, and he said, you're bitten off a bit too much here. And I told him a couple of stories. One was about the Rugby World Cup. There's 4 people sitting in the room right now who were with me at the start of that project when we started to decide what our aspiration was going to be for that event, where we knew it would be a great rugby event, but we wanted to take the opportunity for it to be an event that involved and united as much of New Zealand and communities around New Zealand as we could. That was a huge aspiration. A few years ago, Adrian and I and a number of other people, including some in this room from the tourism industry, likewise got together, and we decided on our aspiration for what became Tourism 2025, and we settled on a figure of 41 billion in revenues for the tourism industry by 2025. Back then, in 2012-13, that seemed like a dream, the possibility of setting us up for failure. But the leaders within that group, the likes of Adrian and Christopher Luxon and others, pushed hard that it had to be an aspiration that was a huge challenge, not something that you would expect to achieve if you went well, but something that was well beyond what you think you could achieve. But if you got stuck into it, then who knows what would happen. Time went by, and I think it's fair to say our aspiration for Rugby World Cup was achieved. Time's gone by since the launch of Tourism 2025, and judging from figures that are coming out, we're going to hit that target, and it's going to be done by an industry that is better united, far better united, and far better strategically lined up than it was in 2012 when we started that project. I'm absolutely confident that what we've created here with Destination AKL 2025 sets out something special for Auckland. That Steve showed the destination management cycle. The step we've taken here is to say that it's not just about tourism, it's not just about the visitor economy. If we're going to succeed in that respect, it's going to be because Auckland love the place that they live in, and Aucklanders love the place that they work in. And you can't separate out that from the visitors. The visitors feel the vibe of a place that they get to. And you know what it's like. You go into a place that's humming because the people who live there and the people who work there love it. Then it's a great place to visit. It's a great place to be. So the whole thrust of this plan is to ensure that Aucklanders themselves work towards creating that sort of place, and then the visitors will love it. Once again, I'll just finish by saying a huge thanks to ATEED, to Steve for his leadership, to all of those on the industry leaders group, to all of those that were interviewed and contributed to this, and for those that may not quite know it yet, but who are going to be continued to asked and will agree to contribute to bringing an aspiration and turning it into reality by 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for embracing AKL. You can not say 2025 as well. You can say 2025 That's slightly shorter. Look, thank you to the panellists. I know a number of people will be rushing for the airport, and this time of the day on a Friday, that is a challenging journey. So I'll wrap this up really quickly. There are a few people that I need to just single out for thanks, and Martin is obviously one of them. When we invited Martin to help us with this piece of work, I couldn't have anticipated just how involved he would get in a positive way. His leadership and for me personally has been a great learning experience, and I've really enjoyed what I now consider almost a mentorship type role that has developed there, and Martin, I thank you very much for that. Martin mentioned Jason Hill, who left ATEED not so long ago, but who was instrumental in getting this project up and running. And Jason, I want to thank you for the work that you did in getting us on the right path right at the very outset. Albert Stafford and Chris Bray for the role that they played in getting us to the final product. But my team at ATEED, you know, I'm not prone to getting emotional, but this morning when I finally had the opportunity to share this in the finished product with them, I was a bit overwhelmed purely because I know how hard that team has worked to get this to where it is, and that's the people who've done that. A number of them are here in the room, and they know who they are, and I am humbled by just how hard you've worked to get things over the line in the way that we have. I'm going to wrap up shortly, but I guess the one thing we wanted to do to just demonstrate that we're moving from strategy to development to execution is we are going to be signing the New Zealand Tourism Sustainability Commitment this afternoon as a first meaningful action to demonstrate that we are serious about that commitment, and that is a minimum requirement for us. We believe we can take a stronger leadership role about leading tourism organisations across the country to move forward with sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to you as well for taking the time to be here and for listening intently. I invite you to get into the strategy. There are hard copies available in the foyer on the way out, but there's a wealth of information on the Destination AKL website, including the supporting document which details the thinking that went into developing the final strategy. I also invite you to stick around, for those of you who can. There will be some light refreshments in the foyer, and I look forward to having a chat with most of you there. Thank you very much.